iCerMax engineered filtration solutions. Control contamination, protect what powers you. Engineered filtration solutions. Control contamination and protect what's powering you. The iCerMax fuel and oil engineered solutions and filtration systems are designed to handle real-world contamination in the toughest conditions. The iCerMax fuel and oil filtration systems are engineered to handle the toughest of what Africa has to offer. Removes free and suspended water at full flow. Live inbound fuel verification. Multi-stage high capacity. Built for real African high contamination loads. Stable ISO cleanliness. At bulk, transfer, and dispensing points. Engineered for your site. Engineered for your site. Sustained performance, not short-term filtration claims. No guessing, no reacting, no barcode filters. Engineered fuel and oil control systems that work in the real world. iCerMax, performance you can measure. Control contamination and protect what powers you. Are you head of fuel quality? Are you a fuel quality manager? Are you a product assurance manager? Are you a product quality assurance manager? Are you a fuel technical manager? Are you a fuel integrity manager? Are you a technical services manager handling the fuel area? If you're head of fuel quality, if you're a technical services manager handling the whole fuel area and need to set filtration specifications, investigate failures, approve new technologies and systems, influence national standards. Are you a terminal operations manager? Are you a depot manager? Are you a bulk fuel storage manager? Are you a distribution operations manager? Are you a pipeline operations manager? Do you see water contamination, whether it be free or suspended water? Do you oversee tank cleaning costs? Do you know of injector failures blamed on fuel? Then you're going to understand very quickly the iCerMax value. Are you a maintenance engineering manager? Are you an asset integrity manager? Are you a mechanical engineering lead? Are you a rotating equipment engineer? Are you a fluid engineer? Are you a fluid specialist? Do you specialize in fuel and oil? Are you a commercial fuels manager? Are you a mining and fleet solutions manager? Are you a technical sales manager in commercial fuels? Are you a key account technical manager? Water contamination must be a huge pain point for you. The iCerMax team has worked with companies like Sasol, Engine Petroleum, Shell South Africa, Vivo Energies, Total Energies, Astron Energy, Barrick Mine, Glencore, Terraco, NTT, Vodacom, MTN, Telkom, BHP Billiton, Airports Company South Africa, FG Wilson in DRC. iCerMax is engineered filtration systems. Removes free and suspended water under flow. Built for real contamination. Stable ISO cleanliness levels. Giving you the lowest cost per liter. Please challenge iCerMax's lowest cost per liter. Capacity flow design, multi-stage systems. That's performance. High flow capacity. Engineered for high demand operations. Multi-stage filtration. Removes contaminants at every stage. Built for reliability. Continuous protection, maximum uptime. Filtration is not maintenance. It is production infrastructure. This is where it shows. Not theory, real operations, real sites, real applications. You don't know where contamination is occurring or where it's coming from? Go to your workshop, look at your unscheduled failures and your parts spend. That's your contamination report. iCerMax engineered filtration solutions. Control contamination and protect what powers you. iCerMax fuel and oil filtration solutions. Here's something that you didn't expect from the iCerMax engineered filtration solutions. Every filtration unit in the proprietary range was engineered with insights from experienced engineers to tool-wielding technicians. So people are always surprised when they call into iCerMax and they hear that iCerMax is a local OEM, which is an original equipment manufacturer, operating here in South Africa, manufacturing locally for the African market and elsewhere across the globe. People are always surprised to hear that iCerMax is a local OEM that operates within South Africa, builds systems for Africa and the rest of the world, and supports local businesses. But what drives that passion is that iCerMax is the only brand in the world currently that uses an aquaphobic media, which acts as a water repellent that removes free and suspended water from diesel in a single pass. So what drives iCerMax's passion? Well, to start, something called the smoking gun is that iCerMax is the only brand in the world that uses this media across their product range. Now, this is a little sample, a little cutaway, as they call it. But this filter over here does not allow water to pass through it. And so what happens is, as soon as free water or entrained water or water in suspension touches this media, it by nature splits off of the diesel and it runs down to the bottom, leaving the rest of the diesel with particulates to pass through and then go to the next layer, which is a 10 micron cellulose particle media. And so what will happen is the fuel will pass through this cartridge, go to the inside or the center of the cartridge, and then pass up through the vessel and further through the system. You always want to remove water first from your contaminated diesel. So iCerMax has a smoking gun, a secret weapon, and it's this media. And iCerMax is the only company in the world, the only brand that has incorporated this media that removes free water and water in suspension from diesel in a single pass on high flow. This is iCerMax's proprietary particle cartridge. It is a multi-layered synthetic woven mesh media which removes down to 3 micron. iCerMax doesn't do bar-coded filtration. So some months ago, a business owner, fuel retailer, contacted the iCerMax team. And they were complaining about how an existing filtration system that they had wasn't working as well for them. This system was costing them around 6 figures every month, only on cartridges. Then they had the labor, which is unpredictable, and no reliable monitoring apparatus or solutions to help them predict when they would need to replace cartridges. And they still had contamination issues that were causing them downtime. The iCerMax's no barcode, no guessing approach was to get their flow rate, their pumps, and the volumes that they wish to filter, and the cleanliness level that they want to achieve. Using this information, a user-friendly plug-and-play system was provided that now filters around 5 million liters under a cost of 10,000 Rand to replace inserts. So a customer called in one day about an iCerMax system that apparently wasn't working properly. And in the background, the whole iCerMax team was troubleshooting, saying things at the person that was holding the phone. Like, what are they pumping? What are they filtering? What's the flow rate? What pump are they using? What's the piping configuration? How thick are the pipes? Is it 2 inch? Is it 1 inch? And so on. So what had happened after or during the call, troubleshooting with some questions, it turns out that the filtration system was connected on the suction side, which we all also refer to as the negative displacement side. What they should have done is put on positive displacement, which would be on flow or on pressure side. And they also had an issue with their pump that was cavitating. So as you can imagine, this got everybody up in arms because the iCerMax team is a small team, but a very hard-working team and have a lot of pride in the quality of what they build every day. And so as soon as there's something small that seems to be going outside of operation, you have a whole team behind you. As you can see, the iCerMax headline philosophy is engineered filtration solutions, not filters. This brand, for over 2 decades, has been using the experience, empiricism from experienced engineers and technicians that are on the ground, that wield the tools and manage various sites. The product capabilities are wide and are corner to corner, never ending, covering all the filtration needs of all sites, from inbound, bulk, storage, transfer, cycling, kidney filtration, also known as offline cycling, dispensing, and onboard. This system that you're seeing has done just around 5 million liters before having to replace the 4 triple-layer guff bags that are inside, at a fraction of a cost to what they are used to. Funny story. Just the other day, we did a backup of all the images and videos that we have collected over a number of years now from end user customers of ours, clients, mining sites, data centers, onboard filtration, tank cleaners, and the list goes on. And so we were busy backing these images and this image stock and videos up. And we noticed that we were sitting with close to 30,000 digital assets, 30,000 photos and videos of client sites, of cartridges, of different systems, different configurations of systems. And not just that, we have actually learned from all of these applications. We get feedback from what technicians are doing and how operators are using our systems, how installations are being done, how maintenance SLAs are being handled, how often they do it, how long they have to do it, the intervals, the life cycle intervals. And so we've learned a lot. Sometimes it might seem as though we're very smart and we know too much, but let me assure you that that comes from learning from all the different sites where the iCerMax systems are working. Some of the industry problems that the iCerMax team has come across is you'll notice flow rates that aren't consistent with the types of pumps that have been installed. I've seen pumps that have been installed that can only do up to 120 liters per minute or up to 300 liters per minute. And they're, for example, installed that on a piping configuration of 1 inch, and there are possibly over 30 elbows or 90 degrees in that pipe, and that pipe can even be longer than 20 or 30 meters from the tank. And a lot of the time, you'll find on mining sites where contractors will claim that the line that they're working on is a 500 liter per minute line. Now, this is very important to carry over to the iCerMax team, because when they're putting a spec together, they need to understand what the flow rates are, what the volumes are to be filtered. There's a rule of 3, for example. And the rule of 3 is whenever you cycle fuel offline, and you can even do it on a timer at various points of the day or the week, depends on how you set it up. When you do that filtration exercise, you need to understand what the flow rate is of that. You need to understand what the volumes are so that you can have the right capacity to match that application. So the rule of three is if you have a 20,000 liter fuel volume, then you want to filter 60,000 liters. So therefore, to use a small cartridge will not be feasible for you. It's not going to be satisfactory neither, because you'll probably end up having to replace those cartridges quite often. So getting the right match of cartridge for you is the right way to go, is best practice. The iCerMax solutions is not for everyone. It was designed by experienced engineers and experienced technicians that have empirical hours in their craft. Here's some industry problem awareness. Fuel contamination risks in Africa. Hidden cost of contaminated diesel. Why water in fuel destroys equipment. Common filtration mistakes that operators make. The real reason generators fail early. Reactive versus proactive fuel management. What is free versus suspended water? How multi-stage filtration works. Understanding ISO cleanliness levels. Bulk versus transfer versus dispense fuel filtration. Live inbound fuel filtration explained. When you buy fuel, you get what's delivered to you. If you have no way of visually verifying the fuel that you are receiving, then you are going to sit with that problem if it is contaminated fuel. You will not know. It is very difficult to fit a filtration system in before your fuel tanks on supply line. Fuel tankers that arrive to supply fuel to your bulk tanks usually supply at a high flow rate at about a 3 or 4 inch pipe. iCerMax has developed a live verification inbound solution for your sites that helps you see the type of fuel that is coming into your line. And within 200 liters, you will be able to intercept that delivery, stop it, and discuss a better quality for your operation. High capacity filtration systems, real world engineering solutions, site-specific engineering designs. The iCerMax team helps with designs of data centers, of telecommunication sites, backup generators, and the list goes on. If there is fuel that needs to be decontaminated, the iCerMax filtration solutions can cover any type of contamination, especially the most harmful being water in suspension or entrained water, and target specific ISO cleanliness levels, whether it be on receiving, on transfer, on storage, short or long-term storage, dispensing or offline circulation, or offline cycling. Flow rate optimization explained. Sustained performance versus short-term filters. Sustained performance versus short-term filters. This is how you extend life through filtration. Extending engine life through filtration. Maintenance, cost reduction. Protecting mission-critical operations. Hospitals, data centers. This is why guessing is not a fuel strategy. Moving you from reactive to controlled strategy. Moving you from reactive to controlled operations. Engineering versus commodity filtration. Performance you can measure. This is performance that you can measure. In the headline of the iCerMax logo, in the iCerMax slogan, you've maybe read, protect what powers you. And that is because anything that runs on diesel and oil, but specifically for diesel, whether it's a generator or a farmer's engine, tractor, or even a holding tank, whether it's mining equipment, yellow machines, contractors and plant equipment, anything that requires fuel to be cleaned or decontaminated, iCerMax specializes in. And that is from receiving of fuel into bulk tanks, on transfer, on kidney or offline filtration, offline cycling, fuel polishing, and dispensing. The iCerMax filtration range also has filters that are designed to be fitted on generated day tanks. You'll notice that when you have an iCerMax fuel filtration system, that iCerMax has basically developed their product range over the years, getting feedback from its end user customers, from experienced engineers and technicians, people that have empiricism or empirical insights. Yes, that means experience. So you've heard the term that hours beats talent. So if you look at one of the components that they utilize, you'll see that this is basically a component that helps introduce fuel into the filtration system. And what's very clever is that number one, it is very user-friendly. So all the filtration products has markings on it so that people know, technicians know exactly what is in and what is out. All the systems are plug and play. And what you see over here is a head that basically has a filtration vessel with a cartridge on the inside fit to this. And so this is a spin-on type, and the iCerMax range has various different heads for all different applications. This one introduces the fuel through a 1-inch. From the 1-inch line, the fuel enters, and as you can see over there, the fuel will basically come down through these portholes. Once the fuel comes down these portholes, it is basically separate to this porthole over here, meaning there is no other place for the fuel to go. And this is being the fuel with the contamination in. If I were to take this cartridge, I can show you how it works. So imagine that this cartridge is there. This is just a cutaway. But imagine that the cartridge was fitted in the correct way and it was in this head. Then what would happen is the fuel will come through those slots and pass down on the outside of this filter media. And so what will happen is, because this is a hydrophobic or aquaphobic water repellent media, what will happen is the total fuel mix will run down this. And all the while that you have the pump pushing the fluid through the system, what will happen is only diesel with some particle contamination will move through this media. But the water, being free water or entrained water or water in suspension, will stay behind. It cannot pass through this media. So what will happen is the fuel will run down, the water in suspension and free water will run down to the bottom to the next fundamental that they've invented. So they have a proprietary water trap, which also acts as a drain that has high capacity to hold a lot of contamination and drain that out. So basically what happens is the total fuel mix comes down this cartridge, the water contamination or free water or water in suspension will run down to the water trap for drainage, and the fuel that has had the water removed will then move through this membrane and through the first stage of particle. This is a 10 micron cellulose media, which will remove then down to 10 micron particulate. The fuel will then pass through into the middle, the center of this cartridge from the outside, and what will happen is it will pass out the cartridge back into the system, into the next vessel, if there is a next vessel. And so what happens is when the fuel passes out through the middle, over here, up into the system, then what will happen is the fuel will then come up and move through that center porthole there. So these ports do not mix fuel at all. What comes in will be handled in accordance to the media and depth filtration, whereby subsequently the fuel will then move back out after it's had to pass through the media layers and then exit the system. Now, once that happens, that has already been passed through the water filtration system or the water separator. After the water separator, you have a particle cartridge like this. So iCerMax manufactures various cartridges, and this is a synthetic media, multi-layered, which has a woven stainless steel mesh that gives it the no bypass rule. So that's another fundamental that iCerMax has thought of, is the no bypass rule. So we've seen sites that actually prefer to have a filter fail and bypass, which means you have contaminated fuel that runs through filtration systems, and as soon as the filtration system starts loading and caking up and basically clogs the cartridges, what will happen is some filters will actually allow, by design, that pitting and tearing starts forming and the cartridges compromise, and from there, as a result, you will have then contaminated fuel still pass through. The problem with bypassing is you're spending money and time and effort in getting the filtration system set up, and if you have bypass, that means that you're just defeating your efforts. There should be no bypass rule. So the fundamentals of diesel filtration is introducing the fuel to your system. And that starts already with the piping configuration, what size the pipes are, what size the cartridges are, what kind of cartridges you're putting in over there, and what micron sizes you're targeting. The next thing is a tech tip. You always want to remove water first. So instead of putting your particle cartridge first, you want to start with water. And what happens is you remove the water first, water in suspension or free water, and it runs down to your drain. You can at the same time get visual verification of the type of fuel that is running through your system. From there, you've got the fuel mix that goes through into the particle filter, where you can then polish down to your targeted ISO that you're looking for, or micron rating that you're looking for. Once that is done, together with this whole configuration, you want to ensure that you have the right pump for your filtration products or for your filters. Remember that if you put too much force or energy into the fluid, you can push free water up into suspension in the fuel mix. So another thing that iCerMax has done is provided you with guidance on any of the cartridges within the range, not only the flow rate that the filters comfortably handle, but also the ideal flow rate to remove water in suspension using the hydrophobic media. So when it comes to filtering diesel, there are a couple of fundamentals that you need to take note of. Number one, you always want to see what your fuel looks like. This gives you a good idea of what's being supplied to you, gives you a good idea of the type of contamination that you're working with, be it free water or water in suspension or heavy particle, microbial growth, and the list goes on. The next thing you want to do is you want to remove water first from your fuel batch. This will give you a good idea of what you have left, because you cannot use water in suspension or free water for anything of value. So it has no value, and you literally have to drain it and dispose of it. So the fuel that you have left may have particle matter in, of which you can then target the micron range that you desire. The next thing you need to understand is the type of pump that you're using. How fast is the pump moving? Another thing is, how does the pump operate? So for example, you get some pumps that have a pulsating action, and that can actually cause a bit of water in suspension if you don't know what you're doing. The next thing is you want to use pressure gauges. Pressure gauges, although analog, can give you a good idea as to how the cartridge is caking up. And so we also have specifications on how far that would, the pressure rating would go before you need to change a cartridge. From there, you want to monitor the fuel volumes. That gives you a very good idea of the life cycle of the cartridges. It helps you with great life cycle management when it comes to buying cartridges and predicting the lifespan of cartridges. So iCerMax has a little bit of a problem in that a lot of the products in their product range, cartridges are lasting, in some cases, up to 1 to 2 years without having to change a cartridge. So yes, the initial outlay CapEx for a system is a little bit higher than what you would be used to. However, when it comes to the life cycle management and the lifespan of the cartridges and the management of cartridges, and the product is sometimes too good, giving you the lowest cost per liter. The iCerMax product range is highly adaptable, modular, and scalable to any fuel and oil application. So whether you are receiving fuel on inbound or transferring fuel from point A to point B, or cycling tank A, or dispensing fuel into a vehicle or a tank, you have a product range that can help you across flow rates, across desired volumes, and even lifespans of cartridges.